I'll call to order City Operations Committee. Let the record show that all members are present with the exception of Alderman Crawford and Alderwoman McCall. I'll make a motion for the approval of the previous minutes on August 12th. Can I get a second?
Second.
Can I get a second from somebody on the committee?
Second.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, no kidding.
Second from Alderman Anastasia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then we just make that motion, correct, now? With this, Tiffany? I'd like to make a motion that we enter executive session for discussions on regarding current litigation. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Anastasia. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we're to 119. Tiffany, can you please put that, obviously sign is here now too?
Yeah.
Or under unfinished business, it is QR code parking. Please. Where is the? QR code parking. No, you're gonna give your update on QR code, please.
Okay, I provided you, last week I sent out my views on what I think we should do with the QR parking if you proceed with it. That we parking on Lawrence Street from North Union to First Street, 2-hour parking. Parking on Hamilton Street from North Union to Berry, 2-hour parking. Parking in the downtown district, North Union to Coleman Street, South Union to Henley, East State to the Bridge, and West State to 7th Street. For Beyond Street, QR parking in our parking lots. Lot 6, which is at Berry and Hamilton, that we maintain the rented spaces, and that we, the rest of the spaces be put in there for the QR codes, and that we, in there, we have the spaces that are allotted just for public parking other than the permits would be 2 hours of free 2 hours, the first 2 hours you get free parking. Same way with lot 9, it's at First Street. We have 51 spaces there, 45 of them are already rented. Current monthly value of $1,400 a month. I would just recommend we leave this lot alone there.
What was that?
That's lot 9A, it's at First and the 100 block of North First Street. Lot 10C, that's North First Street and Sullivan. This is probably one of the largest lots. We have 109 spaces available for permits. We have 29 of those spaces rented. Current revenue is about $890 a month there. And we also have approximately 56 meters places there. So recommend that we take out the meters, we go with 2 hours free parking there, and we leave that lot for the parking spaces, permitted spots and parking. Lot 10A and B, that's First and Lawrence, that's behind Community Bank. That lot, we have 73 spaces available. We have 20 permitted spaces there that are permitted. And the current revenues is about $650 a month out of there. One of the things that we want to be careful of, one of the suggestions was to make lot 10, which is at Sullivan and First, make that strictly a free parking. But that would also, we would lose the 29 spaces that we're running in there, and more than likely the 20 spots that we run behind the bank would just give up their permits and just walk the half a block or block down the street and park there for free. So that would be a loss of revenue there. The Bartlett House, we have 28 spaces there available in this lot. We have 2 spaces rented. Currently, we get about $70 a month for those. At this time, I do that lot alone, but we can consider in the future, once the library expands, to have QR parking in that lot. And then it was recommended that we start charging for parking in Bradner Stadium and the recreation stadium and recreation center. I would suggest that we go to the QR parking there just for events. Let's say we have in the summertime, we have the Oilers baseball. We can put it, I talked to the company, and you can set that up so you can put out Sammy's boards there and say, parking tonight. And my other recommendation is that we would go with either a straight fee and not by the hour, either $3 to $5 per event in there, and just have it for the different events that are at the stadium. So these are my reaction to recommendations that I received from Alderman Crawford and Alderman Robertson.
Questions? Sonia?
So we originally were looking at the QR code in part because we were looking to how do we generate revenue without having to increase taxes for our residents. And the concept and the thought behind, at least on my part, and I think a couple of others, was other people come into the city, they would help pay for that, and that would, help our tax base. We wouldn't be looking to, hopefully it would defray some of the increases down the road. With that in mind, there was the perception that $100,000 would be made from the parking, and initially we got something that gave a breakdown as to how they came up with that, with the 60% occupancy filled, and then the mayor indicated that no, only $46,000 of that was from parking fees, and the remaining $54,000 would be from enforcement. Of that 46, if you will, 26 is what we pay a parking official. So officially, we're only making like $20,000 from that parking from what was proposed. Having talked to lots of residences and a fair amount of the businesses downtown, the concept that we're going to build capacity by charging for parking, I think is an error. I was down in Indiana. I went to Nashville, Indiana, Columbus, Indiana. Great downtown, really packed, and they had free parking. And what they did is they had parking lots that were fee-based. They were 2 to 3 hour parking, so it wasn't like you could park there forever. 2 to 3 hour parking on the side streets and in the downtown areas. the business owners that I talk to are very concerned. There's a number of them that it's been a rough couple of years for, and they have significant concerns about adding QR. When we have a 60%, not full, but empty, at any given time when I went down there, 2 different days, 4 different times, there was a 60% where there was nothing in there, so 40% was filled. I think that is an issue. And then their other concern is, so now you have somebody, they come down, and they're gonna get fined, and what's the likelihood they're gonna want to come back downtown, right? If we had gone right from taking out parking meters to putting a QR code, I think maybe it would have been an easier pill to swallow for people because they would have been used to paying. At this point in time, we've had free parking because we haven't had a parking attendant who has been out there and monitoring to make sure that we are, people are only staying there for 2 hours. I do see that we have hired somebody. I see him walking. So great. I'm glad to hear that. But I think I was one of the supporters of the QR code. I've gone different places. I have no issues myself with it. But I think that that's just wrong for our city and for our downtown businesses. We're not lacking having spaces. So nobody is moving faster because there's a QR code and they have to pay. We have more than ample spaces. I don't want to see, the mayor, I think, laid out a great plan and gave us how much money we're making with the current lots, because quite honestly, a couple of my thoughts would have been, charge a fee for a couple of the lots, but I do see, and so thank you for the breakdown, that where we are making money, we don't want to lose money from those things. I would say, make it 2-hour parking, and then if somebody's not there, then put a fine in. If I am going to go to dinner, I'm probably done in 2 hours. If you go to get your hair done, it might take a little bit longer, depending on what processing, right? So that might be a case where somebody might not be done in 2 hours, but we have ample parking lots. I would encourage us, based on talking to residents and our downtown businesses, to not move forward with this. I know that this does create a hole in our budget, but I don't think that the cost is to our residents and our businesses is worth the money that we would make from it.
Good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Vernon?
I'm on a complete opposite side of the spectrum on this one. Just from personal experience, no matter where I go, across New York or any other townships that I travel to throughout the day at work, you pay parking somewhere, at least for some of the ones that I gave the examples for and I ran off here to the council on a couple of occasions. There may be free parking on certain streets, but you do pay for parking in those premium areas. Our premium areas being North Union and some of the other streets that were mentioned. The correlation between, well, first, the analysis that we received, it's well known, we all know, cost analysis didn't do it for any of us. It did not really justify what we were thinking, but there is something to be made there. Whether or not we make 100K or make 20K, either way, the object is to be on the positive side, on the plus side, and that's the side that I would hope that we would end up on if we were to do this and hire the person, whether it be part-time or full-time in the future, for this position. Free just because it is an error. Why it was done, constituted years ago, I don't know. I've never heard of such a thing, but I know now the city is suffering from it, just that small aspect of it. And I think that when you continue to do bad and justify it, then I think that you're not helping the situation. I can't foresee giving something away for free just because we've been doing it the entire time. To me, that just absolutely makes no sense. And then the notion that on people getting fined, fines are a penalty. So if you're going downtown to park and you're going there to eat, you know you have a 2-hour limit, you're most likely going to follow the rule, re-up your minutes on your parking and go from there. If you're gonna stay longer, if not, then you're gonna take off. That's for the small amount of Olean residents that are actually going downtown. For those that are out of towners, they're expecting to pay some type of meter fee. So for them to come in and say, oh, it's free parking, I mean, yeah, that's a nice bonus to bring more people in here, that's an incentive, but again, we're also hurting our city of Olean residents because we are the ones that are going to be making up that difference or subsidizing. So for me, I am for paid parking. How we do it, that's been the question now over the past few weeks. When I sent the email to try to initiate this and try to get this going, I tried to set some sort of baseline and then we could go from there. Only one alderman responded, and then the mayor adjusted it from there. I think we're at a good spot now where this would work. I think there was a lot of changes that were made for the city parking lots where you do get the 2 hours free. So if you don't want to park downtown or North Union or any of those streets where you are going to pay the QR code, then you can happily walk over to the city lot where it is free, park there, and then walk to your destination. I mean, the federal government is always saying we should get out and exercise more anyway. I mean, why not get out and walk to your next destination? So I think that we should move forward with this. I think the longer we're waiting, the more we're actually hurting with getting to that $100,000 amount. But I believe that we should be able to gross more than 20K. But again, this is, as Alderman McCall mentioned, this was something that was brought up previously to try to help bring revenue into the city. It is not a money grab, and parking, by all means, you should pay for parking, especially when it's premium parking. I do understand the business owners and their complaints, and I know if I was a business owner, I'd be right there with them. But however, I do understand that if you have something that people want to pay for, they will come and they will pay for it. If I want McDonald's, I'm going to go to that parking lot and I'm going to park in the street or whatever, and I'm going to go buy my McDonald's. Same thing for any other store that's out there along those streets. If you have the product, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to come get it. The same way we all leave Olean and go up north or go east or west and go buy our other products that we need to buy. We buy it, we travel that entire distance because we want it. So if they want the product that's down here in downtown Olean, I believe they will come and get it.
Dave?
Yeah, I just wanted to refresh my memory. When we talked about this, it was several months ago, when I first was initiated. I thought the proposal back then was we were going to make $146,000 a year, and then by the time we paid the parking attendant, it brought it down to around $100K. Sonia is now saying, with her estimates, about $20K. $100K I probably would support because that would be well over 1% in tax rate increases that we could afford. I mean, to pass on to our city residents that live here. But if it's only going to profit $20,000 and it potentially hurt the businesses that we have, I don't think it would be worth it. Because if people don't come downtown to shop, we're not only losing revenue there, we're losing the sales tax from people boycotting Olean. So I would like to get a cost analysis to see much, if we could try to figure out how much we're actually going to make. And at this QR system, do we have to pay yearly fees for this, monthly fees for somebody to monitor this QR?
It's, the company will do that, and the fees are in the amount that's being paid by the people that are part of it.
So be no additional expenses as far as
There's no cost to the city. They even do the back office work, collecting, and then they will issue a check monthly to us.
Because it seems like we go from 20,000 to 100,000 profit. It's just like, if it's 100,000, I would probably support it and give it a try. But if it's only going to make $20,000, I don't think it's worth losing business for the struggling downtown merchants that we do have right now.
Having not seen the original proposal, what would the hourly rate be for parking using the QR code? and I don't have that.
Yeah, it would be $1 an hour, and there'd be a fee added to that, but, it would be $1 an hour, but it could be in increments of 15 minutes, so.
So I think going along with Alderman Robinson said, I don't think that's a significant amount to draw people away from the downtown area. If it's $1 plus an incremental cost to that, say up to $1.50, I think that's in line with what I've seen in other cities. Most recently over in Jamestown, very similar to that, a QR code system.
Is there a possibility to, years ago, we used to have parking meters, Mayor, is there, and we charge what, 5, 10, 25 cents, depending on how much time frame you wanted to park there. Is there any way to look to see what it would cost to install meters again, parking meters, instead of using a QR code?
Yeah, sure, there is, yeah.
It's worse cost effective than what you're talking about now.
No.
They paid two employees back then.
Yeah, I think it's
And the
not broke,
maintenance
because, it's not broke right now.
So, I was one that kind of brought this up and said that I was willing to have a conversation about this, which I did. And I agree with Simon. I don't believe that this is gonna make anything to justify this. We talk about the prime parking. The prime parking is maybe from here down at dinner hour. You drive down that street any other time, and it's not a lot of things, and it is just our residents. There's not a lot of out-of-town residents touring Olean in the middle of the day coming here. So it is our residents paying that bill. It's me up getting a haircut, going to community bank. I think it is a hindrance to the downtown businesses where you do, maybe it annoys people where they don't go down there and they say they go someplace else. You lose sales tax, you lose another business. Or they want another vacancy on North Union Street. I don't think so. And I know one village you talked about, Vernon, we talked about this, was the village of Alfred. I said, parking there is a premium. At any point in time, 3 weeks ago, there was 4,000 people in Alfred. There was probably 32,000 people there today when all the colleges are in session and everything's happening. It spikes, and they don't have any more paid parking. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't go there a lot, but I've been there, and I don't remember ever paying for parking in Ellicottville, where you can't ever seem to find a parking spot in their downtown area. I don't, maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't think it's worth it. And to Dave's question, a lot of that number changed, Dave, when it was then stated that some of the permit fees were also included in some things that were back out, because that was money that's already collected. I mean, I don't know if we can try to get some money by advertising to apartments that they can buy permits in those lots instead, to bolster the permit parking, but I don't think this is it. And the only way that I would even tend to agree is right now we have 2-hour parking with a very ineffective enforcement system. The only way that I ever considered, and I mentioned this before, and I know that I didn't email because I've stated my opinions during the meeting, so I didn't think that I needed to redundantly send them. QR code with 2-hour free parking, you can still register it for 2 hours, then in 2 hours you get that same reminder. So there is a way to do it with a better enforcement mechanism. But I don't think the paid parking in downtown's it. I don't think Olean's that big of a draw to warrant this. Bill, anything else on this?
No?
So is this a dead issue now?
Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, 5. Is there 5 here present? 4. 4 here, so we need 3 to pass something, correct, Bridget?
It's technically a discussion item, so I mean,
Make a
if
motion.
someone puts forward a PL or someone doesn't put forward a PL,
Or
you
you
don't
can-
have to do anything.
You don't need to make a motion to postpone this indefinitely?
Nope, not with a discussion. If there's a PL, there's a PL, and if you don't want it put on another agenda, it's not put on another agenda.
Okay. very good.
I would like to, if I may, I'd like to have some direction to tell the company, is this a dead issue, or are we considering it, moving it forward?
As it stands right now with the information that I heard tonight, I'm not in favor of it, I'm not going to support it.
I've already stated my case, and, it looks like to me the majority rules are 3-2, so I'm perfectly fine with whatever the council decides.
That sounds like I direct them that we're not doing it right now. Okay, under new referrals for consideration, tree maintenance, removal of the right of way. This has been talked about a number of times. Trees in the right of way, trees in the subway, who pays, who owns it. James, you weren't here, but Ben and I started, there actually was a small committee of Alderman Panis, who's no longer here, myself, and Ben, and we were talking about this issue and some other very similar issues, right? Because over the years, a number of residents have come and talked about a tree in the right of way and kind of the theatrics to have it on and taken down. You'll actually be hearing from a resident tonight who reached out to Alderman Robinson and myself, just so you're aware, if he mentions that. This has been talked about before, so this wasn't what spurred this, it's just bringing this up again. I think we need to take a hard look, and I know that I asked about this a year, maybe 2 years ago now, when we talked about this, and I think it was stated, Vernon and I talked a little bit today, but it was kind of talked about how we weren't putting trees in the subway anymore, and then we keep doing this, because you put a tree in the subway, if that's yours, if it's the city, you should be responsible to remove that tree. You should not pass any part of that off to the resident, because it wasn't their choice to put it there. You know, so we go knocking and we say, well, you're gonna pay half that bill, and if you don't do it, we're gonna put it on your taxes, we're gonna file a lien. Like, basically, we're strong-arming them into paying that bill. But when that tree root grows into that homeowner's sewer line, the city's not ready to be there to pay half that bill. They want them to do that, and they want them to take out right-of-way permits, this permit, use a master plumber, which drives that up to $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, astronomical fees. We need to develop a program similar to the city of Buffalo. And my brother-in-law actually kind of just talked about this. They had a big oak tree in their subway, lifted the sidewalks, made a mess of it. City of Buffalo came in, cut down the tree, did away with the stump, and now we're coming back to do that. And I said, just out of curiosity, what did that cost you? And he said, nothing. The city said it's their tree, it's in the subway. So we need to figure something out, because we say, like, sometimes we own it here, but then sometimes when now the tree needs to come down, suddenly I own to the curb. Or I don't put a trash can out on the subway, I only own to the inside of the sidewalk. Like, these arguments of convenience need to stop. Like, I think we can agree that if it's your subway, it's your tree, it's your maintenance. And I've questioned this before, and I also questioned it that city code also states that you can't place permanent structures in the right of way or in the subway. And I would say that a tree is pretty permanent. So I don't know where we want to go from this. I don't know if somebody else wants to weigh in on this. Vernon?
I was gonna say, I think we're kind of all in agreement that this has been a long-standing issue, and we were fortunate that when our trees were causing havoc and they weren't doing well, that the city came and they removed them. And when they asked, I didn't want another tree put back in there, because I recognized the issue, and we have, you know, residents over and over that their driveways are affected by it, their sidewalks are. You know, one of the businesses before we went and redid East State was having the same thing, that the city had a tree there, it had lifted their sidewalk. And I think so. The first time I said I think the city needs to be responsible for maintaining or getting rid of the trees in the subway. I don't know how popular that was, but I think that it's gained some traction in terms of that, because I think it's an ongoing dilemma. They planted in part, that has nothing to do with most of us here, trees that were not particularly viable and shouldn't have been planted there, that were too big for the area, or like there's some on one of the streets, they have like little apple things falling off of them there in the side, right, and it's a risk. So I would fully support the city being fully responsible for all the trees in the subway, and I know there's concern about Tree City USA, and I'm like, well, let's figure out how to be Tree City USA without putting an added burden on to our residents and our businesses.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sonia, and I've heard that Tree City USA, yes, several times. We've been Tree City USA since the late 80s, but what benefit is it? We got a plaque that says Tree City USA, who cares? What benefit do we get by being a Tree City? So I agree with what JR said and what you said.
And I agree that we need consistency. If we say that up to the right of way is the city's responsibility, then it is for everything. Or it's not, because you just can't be internally inconsistent as a city, because the residents just don't know where to go.
When I first came on the council, I know one of the things that I've always heard about was the issue that the city has with the trees that are in the subway. And I've never experienced it with my own property, but I did have a constituent that her situation bothered me the most. Sorry. But there was one that bothered me the most, because it was a young lady that moved here from Pennsylvania. I think that's where she moved from. She bought a property in Ward 6, and within less than a month, she had her line collapse. Come to find out, the tree had grown into her line, and she was told she was responsible. She had no money to take care of this, but she had to get a porta potty put in her driveway. And this was during the fall, and it went on through the winter months. And she had children. And there was nothing I could do there, because this policy or this procedure that we had in place that says that, you know, the resident is responsible for the tree. The tree had been there many, many years before she had purchased this property, and many years before most of us have purchased our property or inherited it, but yet we're responsible for this tree that collapses our lines. And for those that don't know, you're talking 10 to 15 grand, roughly, to get that fixed. So if you don't have that in your pocket, then there's going to be some problems. And as it was shown with this young lady that had a porta potty in her driveway for months, I think there's a wrong that needs to be corrected here. I think that the city does have a list of all the trees that are an inventory of all the trees throughout the city. I think we should take a hard look at these, and whether, you know, we have a lot of people that love trees. That's why we are the tree city. Maybe if we do create some type of program, maybe where we pull down a tree from the city's sidewalk or from the subway, then maybe someone will be willing to plant a tree in their yard, as long as it's nowhere near their sewer line and inlet water. So I think there's a lot of things that can be discussed. There's a lot of things that we can do within our power as a council. But keep in mind, this is going to be costly. This is going to be very costly, and especially with the monopoly with the tree companies in this area, with the amounts that they charge. I think we're going to see that this is a good conversation to tackle, but at the same time, if we're worried about the cost of $1 for 15 minutes or whatever for a meter, this is going to be a lot more astronomical than that. I know in Arizona, to cut down a full tree is like $800. I think here in the city of Olean, we were talking about 8 to 12 grand to cut down a tree. So that's one tree.
At least a couple thousand.
Yeah, a couple thousand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I got 3 at the last meeting, 3 of my residents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a couple of them had a couple of trees, but yeah, I think between 2 and 4 is,
So 2 and 4 is about the average.
yeah.
And so that's going to add up really quick for us, for the city, if we tackle this. But like I said, I do believe that we should correct the wrong, and these residents, you and this is where I will jump on with Dave when we say the little old lady, right? You have someone that's on a fixed income and they're out there, and then this tree falls because of Mother Nature or what have you. And God forbid if insurance won't cover it or something like that, and they have to fork up this money to get rid of this tree that was dying, or, and I know just from being on the tree committee, the sycamore tree was the one that was one of the bigger issue trees that I recall, that the branches just fall off and blow everywhere. A lot of them need a lot of pruning and stuff like that, but again, I'm not a professional there, but I think this is a great topic and something we should tackle.
Bernard, you talked about the cost effectiveness of it, but I mean, I don't know, Bill, James, perhaps some of our city workers could be, if they're not already trained in tree removal, so that way we're not potentially paying prevailing rate, because unfortunately, if it's the city that hires the person, it's at a higher rate than would be the homeowner. So even the homeowner is now paying a higher thing. I know I talked a year or so ago about, I don't like this plan, but it's smarter to figure out how the homeowner can hire it, because then it's private work instead of prevailing rate at minimum. But you talked about, like, when somebody buys a house, the one thing that's never changed though is who owns that subway. So I'd like to see, a direction to go here on getting something too. If we just draft a budget, and then you can have emergency removal lines like we do on houses, and just the standard operating for the thing. I mean, you're not looking to take them down every year. Another problem, you want to put a tree back in the right of way, I don't have a problem with it. Just understand it's your responsibility, not me, because I own it now, or Joe if he bought my house, or the next 20 years. It's yours, it's your tree, you deal with it. So I mean, at minimum, I'd like to have a PL in place so that way next budget year it can be budgeted. Bill, thoughts? Anybody else?
I'm wondering if we could reach out to the State College of Forestry to send someone down here, a team of students, graduate students, to do a survey of the city at really no cost, or at lower cost than you would if you did a contract, and then come back with a prioritized list of where the danger points are. They'd look at the trees and say, the one in JR's yard is ready to fall, the one in mine is sufficiently young that it won't be a problem. That way we could prioritize this over a couple of years instead of going through and hacking it up.
It's down in my yard to come down the lower X. Vernon?
Just to bring Joe up to date, Mr. Curry, the city completed a survey, I think it was 2-3 years ago, on all the trees in the city, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, maybe the DPW director knows, but I think they're categorized by species, age, and like a graded system on what are the more pressing trees that need to come down versus the ones that are the healthiest. I think it goes somewhere like that, but that was done, I think, 2-3 years ago.
All right, perfect, that's all I said.
We could provide that to you, Joe.
James, if we want to put this back on, how long would it take you and Bill to work up an idea of what the operating cost might be annually, plus an emergency, plus the ability or the idea of maybe training some staff in-house?
Yeah, I can pull it together in a month. Based on, it's a topic I have some experience with from my previous employment, so.
And in your previous appointments, was it set up that way sometimes with the municipality covering the cost?
Yeah, there's other 2 communities I worked for, if those trees are in the public right of way, they were public owner.
Good. Tiffany, can we put this on for 1 month, please? No committee reports, and I'll make a motion for adjournment. Give me a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman McCall, in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, I'll call to order the Finance Committee meeting for Tuesday, August 26th. Let the record show that all aldermen are here with the exception of Alderman Forney and,
Crawford.
Alderman Crawford. My brain was like struggling because I was looking up there. Approval of the minutes from the previous committee meeting from Tuesday, July 22nd. I'll make a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Alderman Benyon. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, under unfinished business, we have capital fund 235 ash trees. And so, once again, I want to thank you for sending information out to us ahead of time so that we can read it. Thank you.
So, as far as the ash trees go, the most recent count, we have about 60 remain in the city. We feel we have 10 that are in need of attention very quickly, or at least soon, which, later tonight, you're gonna reconsider our tree removal contract, and as soon as we get that in place, we will be making those assignments to get those trees addressed.
Alderman Benyon.
Bill, maybe you can help, or maybe Tiffany can. This was, originally this ash tree thing was put in under Robert Thompson, correct?
Yes.
And he did a count, correct, on the total numbers and gave us an estimate.
Like 160,000 or something, wasn't it? Wasn't it that ballpark?
What'd you say?
Wasn't it like 160,000?
I was thinking it was
It was 150 somewhere. Yeah, so, and then we put how much into that capital fund originally?
I thought the original ask was 75, and we gave him 150, he asked for.
I think so too.
Because I was, and I thought that's the way, but I remember I said like, just let's fund it and get it done. You said they all need to come down, so that, the fund should theoretically be there available for.
Right, there is still I can't recite the balance in that ash tree capital fund, but I did look at that earlier, and I'm certainly confident we have enough money for the 10 that are in trouble, if you will. I'd have to back up and look at the tree contract and see exactly how many we can get out of that. I think it's a lot more than 10, for sure.
Yeah, because our goal was they're all down.
Yeah, and that's what was funded, if I remember everything correctly, so I'd like to know kind of at some point.
How many we got down?
I can do that math and, send you an update on that.
Yeah, because if what's in there is not sufficient to take them all down, then we need to go back and reassess.
We do, but then we'd also
Where-
have to say why was the original number that far off, because the way it was presented was that's what it would cost to remove them all, and I said, why are we gonna wait 2-3 years and try to just put the money there and do it?
Yeah, so I guess, and we've asked that before, not of you, by the way. How many ash trees were down, how many did come down, and I don't think we ever got that number, and I know that predates you. So if we could get a number of how many came down and then a refresher on how much money is left. Yeah, how many original trees did we have that were to come down that were ash, right? How many total? The total number that were removed at a cost of, that tells us what's left in the number and where we fall.
And then also, if there's not enough to take down the remaining 60, approximately 60, why?
Right, was there a cost?
And how many of the urgent are still on that list that haven't come down?
Yeah, because you've identified 10 that are,
Yeah, 10 that need attention.
by attention, you mean, they're like,
We're not gonna prune any of these, so we're gonna take them down, but some of them, we have at least one I know of that's making everybody nervous in Franchot Park,
Oh.
which is dead,
yep, there's a couple.
completely dead. We wanna get that one down immediately. There's some other that are obviously failing, so we might as well take them down, but not quite as urgent as that one in the park.
Okay, President Robinson.
Thank you. Director, is it just one frame shot? I heard there were at least 3 trees that were dead in frame shot, or one is a different, the other 2 are different species?
There's one that I know of that's very close to one of the courts that is making people nervous. I think there are a couple more in that strange little extension of the park.
Yep.
Yes, that's it. There's one that, I wasn't sure it was ash, but it looked like ash borer because
Yeah.
all of the being about. Yeah, there's nothing kind of left. And that one is right by the basketball and, over by the one, area playground. Yes, that's the worst one. And then, right, the 2 others are further away.
So we'll be looking at all of them. These are
That's
all
all that and just how much we have left in the fund, but I guess we can get that from Lynn's.
So would that be possible then by the next one, just to get that report back on?
Yeah, that shouldn't take long, all those numbers together.
Yeah, if you can just even email that to us, that's worked out really well. I've appreciated that. Anything else on the ash trees? And just kind of a heads up for our first meeting in September, I did ask Tiffany to go back to adding the 5, to do the capital funds, but only to do 5 per meeting because 10, sometimes depending on them, went really long. And then also to do the capital projects and give us an update for South Union, I believe I asked, and the splash park. So just something to look forward for next finance meeting.
And then throw,
And what?
just in throw.
Okay, I knew you would be. So new referrals for consideration, we have none. Committee reports, we have none. I make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second by Alderman Anastasia. All in favor? Opposed?
So,
Tiffany?
where'd Bridget go?
Should be right
Okay, so we just don't do strategic planning.
We can, we don't.
You have a quorum, but you don't have the chair or the vice chairs.
Oh.
So therefore, you have to just bypass this, I believe.
Vernon,
We do move on from that? Yes.
it's probably up to you. I just-
It's up to, that's why I was gonna ask Bridget.
I mean, this is just a quick update from the DPW director, so, I mean, I don't have a problem with.
You've all received an email.
Good, whatever they talk about.
Yeah, and, yeah, we want some email, we're good. So let's see, we're moving on to,
Ready the whole.
all right, I'll call to order, committee of the whole for Tuesday, August 26th. Let the record show that all are present except, Forney and McCall.
Crawford.
McCall?
I'm sorry. Crawford.
Okay, here.
It's the C's. I'm thinking Crawford for C's, and you have 2 C's in your last name. Now you know how the correlations work in my head. First on the agenda is PL 92-25 to reassign the City of Olean tree removal contract 2025-26 to Decker Tree Service. Mayor?
Jim, you want to explain
Yeah.
what happened here?
So, earlier this year, when we took the bids for our annual tree removal contract, we selected Great Lakes Tree Service. Unfortunately, the owner and chief operator of that firm suffered a personal health crisis. So the firm as a whole is pulling their horns in, if you will, for this year while he recovers. So we're moving on to the second bidder, which is Decker Tree Service, and fortunately there was very small difference, really if any difference in the pricing, and Decker is a firm the city has worked with in the past successfully, so we're asking that you, I think formally you have to rescind the assignment or the award we made before, and then re-award it to Decker.
Any questions questions?
I just was gonna say how much I appreciated the breakdown that you gave us, with being able to see where the differences were and clarifying that. That was very helpful. I think sometimes we get information and it's a little hard to digest, but that was very, very helpful.
So with this one, we're looking to rescind the earlier resolution, awarding this to Great Lakes Tree Service and basically assign it to Decker Tree Service. I know I have some bad news from Ward 6 because the one location where they were located on North 12th Street, we had a lot of issues with that tree service company there and some of the issues with the parking and so forth. And I know in Ward 7 over in East Fall Road and Avenue B, there were a lot of complaints that Alderman Anastasia had brought forward and some of his constituents had brought forward about Decker Tree Service. And I drove by there yesterday and I see there's at least 2-3 truckloads of sawdust still sitting over there in that region. And I was wondering if there was some way that we can make it a condition that since they're obtaining this contract, that they get over and clean up that area over there to get that back to, at least back to grass or weeds, instead of being a place for termites to be happy and merry.
That's a Bridget question.
Bridget, question?
I'm sorry. Were you referring to,
So-
we make it part of the agreement?
Yes, they left a mess over in Ward 7, and I know codes is involved, and they've done a lot with getting rid of them. They had a bunch of trees and logs all over in that area, but I had a constituent come to me yesterday to remind me, and I do have emails from others in the past that have complained about that particular company when they, for their operation was on 12th Street, but over there in that area in Ward 7, they left a mess, pretty much, and it's just a ton of sawdust.
So part of the problem is that this is something you got to bid, is correct?
And it's not in the bid. Okay.
You can maybe nicely say, hey, can you do better and take care of your past mess, but you can't force it.
Was there any other bidders on that bid back
You're
there?
really only two.
So, I mean, can't you say that we'll vote on it in 2 weeks if you get your order remediate closed? And then if not, we're gonna take it back out to bid?
I guess,
They have an open OR, don't they, Bill?
I think so, yeah.
So they have an open OR, so we would be awarding a contract to a contractor with an open OR.
okay. I mean, I certainly don't object to that. Well, obviously, other than the delay in getting trucks in the field to cut trees. But that's,
It's been a while, I mean, 2 weeks isn't gonna hurt.
yeah, that's your call.
I mean, I'd just rather, it's burning myself, I'd rather just do it that way and postpone it for 2 weeks. If they close their OR, then we'll do that. If not, it goes back out to bid.
I mean, I'm not opposed. I mean, you have a company that has been told numerous times, I'm pretty sure the city can go back and check with codes and find out where they're at there. But I mean, if they've been asked and that was the best that they could do, now's an opportunity to have them correct or wrong and hold them accountable. Why not make them wait 2 weeks? So I'm in agreement, sir.
I'm in agreement.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you, Bernie, for bringing that up, because I was gonna bring it up to beat me to the punch, but I did speak to a constituent of mine in Ward 7, and this has been an ongoing issue for at least a year, if not longer. They don't listen to codes, they don't do anything they're told to do, and it's like, we're rewarding them now without awarding them a contract. So I agree with Vernon, I'd like to see that they clean their mess up in Ward 7 before we give them any more.
Question in that contract, are there any penalties if they don't meet the timely compliance with removal of the material? Do we take money away from them from that contract price?
No, 'cause that's
No,
tied to
it's
the
not that
contract.
sophisticated.
So no performance credits?
Only very general,
Joe, this is just what they were working as a contractor. They used it for dumping.
No, but I'm
it's-
saying for the future, if they,
Yeah, so this is just an open OR that's not tied to that RFP, so you couldn't get time back together.
No, I'm not talking what they've done now, but let them know in the future if they keep that up, if we could debit money take money back from them.
Okay.
I love
And
that.
we could add that somehow. Expand the language in the RFP next year.
So Tiffany, we need to make a motion to postpone this for 2 weeks, since it's on the regular meeting for tonight for resolution.
Right. Before we start that.
Okay, wait a minute, did you say yes? Okay. Dave?
James, can you have a RFP prepared just in case they don't meet that, so that way, and
I would basically reissue the one I had before.
so that way to
change the
maybe not have another gap if it was just prepared to go out
Yeah.
the next 2 weeks from tomorrow?
date. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that also sends the message that we're serious, that we're willing to go back out for the RFP, if they can't perform their own needs.
So I make a motion to postpone for 2 weeks.
All right, so Benny makes the motion, I'll second.
I'll second.
Okay, carry a second. I'm fine with that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to 93-25, to authorize the city of Olean to enter into a consulting design agreement with Labella Associates EPC for the replacement of the salt shed.
James, you want to talk on this, please?
Yep. So, following your direction, I published an RFP for foundation designer for the salt shed, the fabric structure of the fabric building that we've already purchased. I did get 4 proposals, and I sent you the update memo that I know is kind of lengthy, but I had to sort of follow the way I was thinking, if you will, to end up at Labella Associates of 4 firms. I think they provided us, to the extent that we can truly predict the lowest cost, they provided us the lowest cost. And they also provided us a greater degree of flexibility with their approach. So now the question is, I guess, is it the pleasure of the council to spend $15,000 on this design? I do not have, any kind of preliminary construction cost estimate in hand yet, so, the cost of the next step is currently unknown to us. So that's where we're at.
Dave?
Have you, James, before we proceed with that, have you inventoried the materials and inspected the materials that were purchased some years ago to make sure that everything's still intact and usable before we expend it with that in mind, and then we open the box and say, voila, this is correct?
We did make the rounds, if you will, of both the Front Street lot and the city garage, and we believe we have identified all the pieces. If we're missing any, it's very few. And fortunately, the fabric structure, the fabric cover itself has been stored inside, so it should be in good condition. So we have no reason to believe that we can't erect that fabric roof once we have a suitable foundation to put it on.
Okay, I appreciate that. I just wanted to make sure, so we're gonna spend $15,000 and then get the surprise that you're missing most of the frame.
Yeah. And I'm sure actually we'll probably get into that in a little more detail, because the foundation designer is gonna, wanna know greater detail about those parts than, we understand.
That's all I have, and I would be fine with doing it, so we can get, like we've talked for a number of years.
So just to echo what Alderman McCall stated, I personally appreciate the update, the having them early, the detail, and I understand that it took, quite a bit of time and effort to put all of your thoughts on the paper, but to allow us, as you can see, I highlighted a lot because I want to make sure I hit on certain points, and I really do appreciate that. Hopefully, all the other department heads can mimic this with the city. But to get back to this, I have read it over. I do understand that we don't know the future for that area and where the potential new building may or may not go. But I think for safety reasons for the city, because that has been closed off down there for so long, and to not just sit idly by, I think we need to go ahead and proceed with that. That's just my personal opinion. But I think we should proceed and move forward with this. And I think that's a small cost to pay to start getting some action down there in that region. So let's see, any other comments or questions on this particular PO? All right. Looking for a motion from anyone?
I'll sponsor.
Sponsored by Bain, second by McCall.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and nothing further,
Excuse me.
Nate?
Funding?
Funding. Yes, I guess we're on paper.
You know, I think in going forward, that when we do get things, if there is a recommendation from department heads, like if there's a line or something, to make sure to put that in for us too.
Yeah.
Because if there's money in the line item or something, we can, so we'll know.
We'll have to come back to you with,
What's the,
the PO for,
what's the contingency balance?
Contingency balance, I don't think we touched it. Should be 75,000.
if we've touched it, it's been small amounts.
Yeah.
I personally have a problem taking out of contingency.
I don't have a problem taking out a contingency, but I thought we had a fund for this set aside. I can't remember.
We'll check into that and we'll have an answer for you.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Line's requested to be off tonight.
Yep. Not a problem.
But if we need to take it out of contingency, then that'll be a PL for
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
But we can still pass the PL tonight though, right? Like just pass the PL for funding in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we can move, hopefully we'll be able to move forward with getting Liddell on board.
Okay.
It'll probably take us that long to push the contract back and forth.
So can we vote on the resolution tonight?
Yeah, and then take it all the persons were all in favor of using contingency?
Yes.
Okay, just to make sure it wasn't just two people. All right, and,
Before you adjourn, because James brought up, well, you were making the rounds in front of us, I know it's not the agenda, so, but can you give an update, are they taking that chunk of tree that was laying over there for that monument or something?
Yeah, the Historic Preservation Society, Olean Historic Preservation is using that and they're making,
They knew that, but are they taking it sometimes? I thought the idea was to get it down and get it, so that way they can take it to wherever it needed is, and it's still sitting in the front street yard.
it's still sitting there as they, yeah, they've been taking it a little at a time over there. And having bowls and other things made with it, so.
all right. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Can I get a second? Second by Bain, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, we are adjourned from that one. And finally, I'd like to call to order regular meeting of the common council for Tuesday, August 26th. My goodness. Let the record show that all aldermen are present with the exception
No,
of,
we got
It's
it.
a roll call.
sorry, roll call. That's why it says roll call. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderman Benton.
Here.
Alderman Geary.
Present.
Alderwoman Forney. Absent. Alderwoman McCall.
Here.
Alderman Crawford. Absent. Alderman Anastasia.
Here.
And President Robinson.
Here. Now, you said that for a minute. Please, stand for the invocation and pledge allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of this community. In your name we pray.
Amen.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation
correcting approval of minutes, previous regular meeting, Tuesday, August 12th.
The regular meeting of the Olean Common Council was held on Tuesday, August 12, 2025, at 7:25 p.m. Present were Alderman Crawford, Benyon, Corning, McCall, Robinson, and Anastasia.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Anastasia, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Committee reports and unfinished council business.
None?
Communications from the mayor.
Thank you. I have a couple of items here. Last week I sent to you the letter we received from the Department of Environmental Conservation to do the Olean wastewater treatment plant, a whole flood toxicity testing results. So I know there's a lot of legal language in that, so I asked Brad to put together something to read to you tonight on it. So please report that the 24 fluid toxicity wet, in parentheses here, testing conducted on wastewater treatment plants, outfall to the river has yielded excellent results. The testing confirms that there were no acute or chronic effects of aquatic life, and there were no exceedance of any toxicity-based action levels. These findings affirm that the treatment discharge from our facility is clean as or cleaner than the receiving water of the river itself. As a result of these successful outcomes, no further wet testing will be required until 2029. This achievement reflects the continuing commitment of our team to operate for operational excellence. We remain dedicated to protect our local waterways and ensure the highest standards of water quality. Please feel free to reach out with any questions you may have. I provided this in an email to you guys today. This will be going up on the website tomorrow. I also sent on a copy of this report to the Seneca Nation of Indians last week. The second item I have is a report, update to the Common Council on the upcoming I&I study by DEC. I would like to inform you of an important infrastructure initiative that will be taking place over the next several months. New York State DEC has commissioned Rambo, an engineering and environmental consulting firm, to conduct an infiltration study within the design portion of the city of Olean and the surrounding town of Olean. The design area study will focus on regions extending north to south from Whitney Avenue to South Avenue, east to west from 5th Street to the Olean Creek. Monitoring the data collection, Rambo will install a minimum of 9 full monitoring devices throughout the area. These devices will collect data continuously over extended period to assess the volume and sources of water entering the sanitary sewer system. Proposed goal: the primary objective of this study is to identify and quantify I&I contributions within the system. The data gathered will allow Rambo to pinpoint specific areas of I&I and most is most significant, where I&I is most significant. This will enable a more targeted approach to future remediations efforts, improving system efficiency, and reducing unnecessary treatment costs. We will continue to keep the council informed as the study progresses and as primary findings become available. Your support and engagement in this process is greatly appreciated as we work towards strengthening our community's infrastructure. Thank you. And this also will be put up on the website under the I&I issues. So I just wanted to update you on that. I do have a map of the area that I will also tomorrow, or within a couple of days, I'll put this up on the website also. And also send it out to all the aldermen. Okay? So that's all I got, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Miscellaneous communications,
None.
city official reports.
Annual financial report fiscal year, June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2025.
Proposed legislation and referrals.
PL number 92-25 by Mary Elio, referred to Committee of the Whole Tuesday, August 26, 2025 by Council President. PL number 93-25 by Mary Elio, referred to Committee of the Whole Tuesday, August 26, 2025 by Council President.
Finance and bills.
The auditor has processed bills and claims against the city of Olean as per list submitted to each alderman and recommends payment thereof. Whereas the auditor has presented to the common council bills and claims against the city of Olean totaling $3,277,550.09 for the budget and recommends payment thereof. Now therefore be it resolved that the same be and are hereby audited and allowed, and the auditor is hereby authorized and directed to draw warrants for the payment thereof at the amount set opposite each respective claim.
All right, any questions or comments on this?
In terms of
Alderman
finance?
McCall?
Yeah, and I realized Lance wasn't here, and unfortunately I was re-reviewing some stuff late. So I did send out an email, sorry, Alderman Curie, I didn't see it until I got here. So I think you've rectified that now you're
Yes.
on the list, okay. And Mayor, you may actually know the answer to a couple of these questions, that it looked like there were several checks from different departments that had to be reissued due to low anchor being unreadable.
Yes,
Okay, and so have we corrected this so that it's not an ongoing issue?
yes.
Okay, and then I saw that we spayed 5 dogs, and are these city affiliated dogs that we?
These are dogs that we take in that are either taken from abuse or found in the city. And in order to, our dog control officer, animal control officer, has a very good success in finding homes for these. So prior to finding homes for them, we do the spay them.
Okay, excellent. And then I noted on the sewer treatment, there was $2,068.92. Most of them have kind of categories, and that one just had a list, and there were some were $300-400 without kind of a category. I don't think we need to know specifics, but just kind of the category as was listed, since it did turn out to be a fairly significant from just the sewer department there. And they were all ones, just so you know, were miscellaneous. It was listed miscellaneous to Worth W. Smith. So I don't think we need to have an item by item, but just a category. And then under tax refund double paid, there was $38,851.78. Was that related to the overpayment of the taxes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then lastly, I've asked this before, but when we get things, most of it's portrait, some of it's landscape, and even when I turn my laptop into tablet mode, it still doesn't go there. So if we could please just make sure that it's a little bit more user-friendly, I would appreciate it.
Just turn your head.
I do that, by the way, but,
We'll have an answer for you. You requested that information today.
I realize that.
Connie was
Late
not
last
in the
night.
office today, she was
Yeah.
out, so we will have that information for you.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate you had the, other than the miscellaneous, and I didn't expect that because it went out late at night, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we need sponsors.
Awesome.
So McCall and Binion. All right, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Benyon?
Yes.
Alderman Curie?
Yes.
Alderwoman McCall?
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia?
Yes.
And President Robinson.
Yes.
Resolution or approval, 4 votes, 4 ayes. Resolution number, oh. Sorry, 5 ayes, no nays.
We're just all off our game a little tonight.
Resolution number 90-25, PL number 92-25 has been postponed. Resolution number 91-25, PL number 93-25, out of committee by Alderman Benyon, seconded by Alderwoman McCall, to authorize the city of Olean to enter into a consulting design agreement with Lavella Associates, DPC, for the replacement of the salt shed.
So we've just discussed this, and we are looking forward to getting this started. As far as where the funding will come from, it will potentially come from, oh my goodness. Contingency, thank you. Or the mayor is gonna also check to see if there was a capital fund there for that, which for some reason in my brain I'm thinking that there was. So moving forward, are there any other questions on this particular PO? All right, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Benyon.
Yes.
Alderman Carey.
Yes.
Alderwoman McCall.
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia.
Yes.
And President Robinson.
Yes.
Resolution passes 5 ayes, no nays.
All right, any of the aldermen have any questions, comments, or anything they want to bring forward? Yep.
Oh, well, yay to that. Well, I actually was going to, I've been working with a number of the downtown businesses. Collectively, we're kind of Shops on Union. We've done a couple of events, and then First Friday, spearheaded by Connie at Beat City. So just to let you know that we are going to be having First Friday, which is the Music and Art Walk, on September 5th, and then the next one will be October 3rd, and then going forward, that will, we will look to have it from May to October. So if people are interested, I encourage everybody to come down. We'll be 3 to 8 on that event, and the Shops on Union will join First Friday in that, and then I see that you put that,
I wanted to make sure that was mentioned.
yes. So you brought the copy, so I just forwarded it, so go for it.
Just the thought that Alderman McCall brought forward a program for youth rec and sports programs that could provide potentially up to $50K in grant money. And I thought that was great, and hopefully, I know the email was sent in, and the mayor did respond that he was going to work with the department head there to look into that. I'm just hoping that something like that is available, that we can qualify and get that. You know, it's for our kids and the youth in this area, and I thought that was a great find. And you know, I know we're not all out there actively looking for grant money or anything like that, but if something like that ever occurs, you know, it's nice to forward that into the city and have them do the homework there. Anything else you have?
No, that was it.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, before the public comment, I'd like to thank Mr. Robert Kennedy, who's sitting back there towards the back row, who's taking quite the initiative cleaning up a lot of homeless encampments. And I know you've had some helpers, but you've spearheaded it, and it hasn't gone unnoticed, and it's greatly appreciated. And I also hope that the city is assisting in anything else that we can do to make sure the stuff is getting hauled out that you're so nicely dragging up, just so you know.
Absolutely, thank you.
And I want to piggyback on that, because that was the one thing I was going to mention, was that I cannot remember the last name, but I do recall I've seen quite a few posts, what few I've seen online, and there is a lot of work there, a lot of effort, and a lot. It says a lot about how he feels about the city, that he's putting himself out there and cleaning up, and along with those people that are helping him with that. So yes, thank you very much. I know I personally appreciate it, and hopefully the city does too, and hopefully they're providing you with any resources that you need to be able to continue, if you so do so, on that. So with that, any other questions or comments from the council? All right, will the clerk please read the public comment statement?
The public comment portion of the common council regular meeting is established to provide members of the community with the opportunity to publicly state their views, voice their concerns, or to provide input pertaining to any issue affecting city government. Additionally, the mayor, common council members, and city department heads encourage any person with questions to contact them at their offices.
All right, with that, you'll have 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Robert Kennedy, I live at 917 Seneca Avenue. I've been doing a little bit of cleaning up in Olean, and I've got the one camp left on the Olean out part of the Allegheny River. That's at, just past the water treatment plant, ship plant, whatever you want to call it. And let me tell you, this is a big camp. I need the city's help on this one, guys. If y'all could send maybe an officer down there to let these people know that they're trespassing, because they are trespassing. They're littering everywhere. This camp is longer than a city block. It has 7 tents in it that I've seen personally. It has a 50-foot structure where they unroll plastic from one end to the other end. For the top, 50 foot for the sides, 25 foot for the side, over here, over here. It's a massive camp. I'm gonna have help getting that one cleaned out. I don't wanna have to fight all these people. But I'm gonna be there Saturday to clean this camp up. It's the last one on the Allegheny River, and it's gotta go. Have a good day.
Anyone else?
And I think to you all, yeah, Kevin Barzoni, Bishop Street. Okay, here about a month ago, I kept seen up on social media where somebody was pulling a camper down Front Street. They got to the bridge, underpass, whatever you want to call it, and they did not know what to do. They had people behind them honking the horns, somebody out there trying to help them, give them directions and stuff. I know myself, I can't bring my camper underneath there. A lot of people can, and trucks can. I was wondering, why can't you, basically, with a sign, camper sign, arrow pointing down Seneca Avenue for a detour, because of low clearance. You could either have them go out another sign with an arrow going either down King Street or Clark Street. Both of the streets have lights. Both of them could handle it, depending on the size of the rig. It would end a lot of frustration, and really, it would keep people from hitting that bridge. Because you know, as well as I know, the railroad isn't gonna do a damn thing about it. It's been that way for over 50 years. Since I was a kid, it'll probably be that way for another 50 years. It's just something that I think that you should look at, only because the signs don't cost that much, and you put stop signs all over the place anyways, and all the signs you have up there on East State Street, those fluorescent yellow ones, is overkill. But what I'm saying is, and even coming on the other side, from East State towards the hospital, there should be a sign there, warning of low clearance. On top of that, the 10-foot 10 sign that's on the bridge, which I probably is more like 10.6 or 10.7. You can't see it. There's a tree blocking it. Talking about trees earlier, it blocks half of the thing. Unless you know it's there, you won't see it. Today I come down through there, a tractor trailer was pulling in there because he probably didn't know it was there. On some sites, the people, as they travel, they will stay for low clearance bridges. Evidently, these people that I do know from up around Lewiston, they came down to a place in Portville, Riverhurst, and they said if it wasn't for them, but they did not want to go through the roundabouts either. Me, it doesn't matter, I can pull through the roundabouts, no problem. But some people don't like them. So there should be some kind of way of getting a detour around the low clearance that way. Get somebody in to cut the damn trees out, the branches, they're blocking that. And even if you do nothing more than put 2 yellow flashing lights on there, because in this day and age, they run on solar power anyways. I don't know what it would cost. If the railroad puts them up, you get with them, try to push something towards them. It would alleviate a lot of pressure, a lot of aggravation, and maybe people pay attention. A lot of times people don't pay attention. I know myself, I can't go underneath there. And I don't have a super big one, but big enough that I can't make it through the clearance. So, with that being said, it's something I feel that you should look into. I think it would be a good idea, all the way around on both sides. Thank you.
So my name is John Gordonier. I live at 144 East Riverside Drive. Recently, a lot of the topic of conversation within people that I'm talking to in the city of Olean residents, we're talking about like the spike in homelessness that we've seen this, particularly this summer, but over the last few years. So here's some of the testimonials that people have texted me over the last week that want me to speak on their behalf. So I'm not going to name any names in these, but one individual just texted me today. He said a guy robbed our disc golf shed at Gargoyle and gave some of the tools to a homeless friend. They were retrieved from the riverbank behind Tops, where there's a rope ladder system leading into a hole in the bank where a group of homeless are digging out the bank, almost kind of creating some sort of shelter into the bank. The cops were all aware of the encampment and immediately brought my buddy there to look for the tools. There are encampments, litter, and human waste in every possible hiding spot in the city. Public bathrooms get destroyed as soon as they are opened in the morning if they are not broken into overnight. In the litter is an abundance of drug paraphernalia. I live next to Oak Hill Park. There are needles found in the park, homeless trying to sleep in the park both on a daily basis. There's a vacant house next to mine, and the police are constantly there due to homeless trying to squat in it. I also work in North Union Street. There are so many homeless individuals from one end of North Union to the other. Half the time, not fully dressed. I saw a man on Buffalo Street in Olean that was high on drugs a couple weeks ago. We have a problem that is on the verge of being a bigger problem if it isn't addressed now. I'm still battling the encampment across the river from my home and have exhausted almost every possible avenue with no success. It's literally frustrating that they seemingly have more rights than us taxpayers. I don't want my teen out riding his bike around with his friends anymore because of all the homeless drug problems. I want him to get outside where kids are supposed to play, but they can't go to the parks because they're full of homeless people. I'm not sure how to fix it, but something has got to be done. There are young kids that are always out in front of Tops begging for money, which is concerning. I'm afraid to let my 13-year-old walk our dog because we have a vacant house in the neighborhood that people are squatting in. They are trying to engage with her one day. I'm afraid to let her go to King Street Park for the same reasons stated above with other parks. Also, the dikes along the river behind Forness are a little sketchy. The car wash next to my house that has been closed for years had to be boarded up because people are squatting there. I called the Olean Police Department one night because the guy was screaming at the top of his lungs and couldn't stop. I don't live in Olean, but I work there. With young kids, I never opt to drive to Olean to go to their parks or have a date night, really for safety reasons. I don't want the kids finding a needle or something like that. We'll go to Arcade or Springville and spend our money there. It's awful and something needs to be done. Every night we have people walking down the street, hollering, arguing loudly. We bought our house and it was a nice neighborhood. When we bought our house, it was a nice neighborhood. Seems to have gone downhill pretty quickly. I see now that they're infiltrating Seneca Heights and down towards Bonos because you can see tents popping up on the river. And this is mainly between the water treatment facility and then Gargoyle Park. I saw a woman walking down the middle of the road yelling at cars and whipping sticks at them. I had to call 911. I thought she would get hit. Then my kid had to see someone with their pants all the way down on the sidewalk on the way to the movie theater. They had no idea that their pants were like that. As a former substance abuse counselor, it shocked me to know how quickly things have gotten out of control in town. I really have no fear, but I will say that I feel a general sense of needing to be much more aware of my surroundings if I am walking downtown. I see more people that are obviously homeless, addicted, or mentally ill than I do people who seem stable. I would seriously question spending any lengthy amount of time downtown with my kids, parks included. My daughter had a school event at French out in June, and at 11 a.m. on a weekday, there were a number of concerning things going on. If you could bring up the fact that our hospital is overcrowded with drug addicts who are taking space from other sick people, which causes congestion at the ER. It is flooded with people tied down and flipping out on drugs and trying to accost nurses and causing an unsafe environment for people to even bring their children in. And once they get into a bed, they're taking up room for months, sometimes because they're homeless, and we can't discharge them back to the streets. So this is a Olean General Hospital employee. My 18 and 16-year-old daughter were driving to Walmart, and a man pulled his pants down, leaned against the building, and started taking a fill in the blank right on Main Street with a woman on drugs that was right next to him. So these are all testimonials from constituents throughout the city of Olean. I think I share some of the same views. This is not an easy problem, so I'm not really trying to victim blame or make anybody feel bad as far as with their homelessness, but this is something that you guys need to address and discuss more. There was a homeless task force that was formed sometime last year, and I don't think we've heard anything about what their plan is since November of 2024. I heard a city council member state when he was talking about parking out here, he said that the city of Olean shouldn't give anything away for free. But from my observation, I see that the city regularly gives away space in public parks, on riverbanks, and other areas for free to homeless people without any regard for the safety for the public. So that's all.
Thank you.
Tim Sherlock, 125 South 18th Street. My problem now sounds contrite compared to that, but that's okay. I'm really happy to hear so much conversation about the tree ordinances. I've been battling this since I bought the house on South 18th, so 4 years. And what makes me more upset is that hearing each of you talk about how wrong that law is, and how it makes no sense, and how in good faith and having good conscience it should be changed, I've been pushing that for a couple years and saying it made no sense to me how I'm being dictated about city property. And what really made me upset was when this tree became an issue, the person who owned the house previous to me reached out and let me know that they had attempted to take the tree down. They had gone the appropriate route. They had spoken to the mayor. They were going to get the permits. They were going to pay for it. And the city told them absolutely carte blanche, no. That is our property and there's nothing wrong with that tree. You may not do that. They were willing to take ownership of the tree then. It looked pretty. But when the tree didn't look pretty anymore and started dropping limbs, and I started to say, hey, this tree is going to drop a limb on my house or a car that's parked underneath of it, there is something wrong, and neighbors did the same thing, well, by golly, then it was no longer their tree, it was my tree. And I said adamantly, I will not pay for it. And I didn't. And now my mortgage has gone up $200 a month because the city said, well, we'll just get it in the end, we'll take it and put a lien on your taxes. So the bank paid it, you got your money, I got stuck with the bill. And every time I come and said, make it right. It's not correct. This isn't okay. Now, sorry for you. And so I'm urging again for this to be made right. I'm happy to hear that we're talking about making the law make sense, but I've reached out to the mayor's office at least on 4 different occasions with never even so much as a thank you for your phone call. I'll look into it. At least I have 2 councilmen up here who have done that tonight by me pushing for it. If I need to, I fully intend, I will take the city to court to recoup that money. I never should have had to pay it. It was never my property. It was never my responsibility. It's capricious and it's punitive what the city does in shifting the cost that the taxpayers already rightfully pay to have done. Thank you.
Len Wall, Little Valley. So I walked in tonight with a speech that took 2 minutes and 58 seconds. However, the bulk of it was about a simple request for information that I've been trying to obtain for 2 weeks. And I hadn't been successful. And it had, so the bulk of my speech had to do with things like public responsiveness from a public official in a public government, and talking about things like transparency and opaqueness. However, when I walked in, Brad Camp gave me that bit of information that I've been trying to get for 2 weeks. So as a result, you don't have to hear those critical remarks in the middle of it. I will, however, read the more generic first and last paragraphs. It's the usual. I've been saying it month after month after month. So just a few more months and it will have been 2 years nearly since I've been working on the sewage discharge issue. Clearly I haven't been successful, since even with the definitive information you now have about the cause of the problem, and with the definitive solutions that are simple, cheap, and relatively fast, you still haven't decided you would like to be the mayor who solves this issue. Not sure why, since that would be a wonderful legacy. But I know at least the next mayor will rapidly add that to the list of accomplishments. And yes, I appreciate that you've stationed folks at the lift stations during heavy rains as a temporary solution, but this summer would have been an excellent time to solve it permanently. And you've let the summer slip through your fingers. There are still a few more months of decent weather, but I predict that you will continue your inaction on this. Feel free to prove me wrong.
All right, anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, it's time to call public comment section closed. If there is nothing else from anyone else, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Can I get a second? Second by McCall, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? We are adjourned.